Everybody's chasing the fast cash versus lifetime value, and the cash. Hell with what you get paid on an MA. Hell with what you get paid on a Medicare supplement. I'll tell you, Med Supp, you're going to make almost 2x, if not higher, on a Med Supp over the life of that policy versus MA. But aside from that, do what's in the best interest of the client.
Not everybody's an MA client, and not everybody's a Med Supp client. It's just the fact. If all that you have to offer is MA, well then either you've got the most dialed in marketing or you're only selling the duals, and that is what you can sell them as the MA plan.
You heard what I just said. Even though we're generating Medicare supplement leads, people actively looking for Medicare supplement, Medigap, Plan F, Plan G, we'll still end up selling 15-20% Medicare Advantage the rest of the year. Why? Because it's the best thing for them. My agents don't get compensated different for selling this carrier over that carrier, this product over this product. At the end of the day, just do what's in the best interest of the client, and it works.
Hey guys, Curt Graham and Jagger Esch again back with another Inside EIP, and today we're going to be talking about what probably is on everybody's mind, AEP, how it started, how it's going, where we stand. First, let's just kind of jump in, Jagger. I know one of the big things that was hitting us fast, one thing after another, were commissionable, non-commissionable, SARs, getting that information. I mean, what was it like, some of the things that we had to do in preparation for AEP so that we were ready to go on the 15th?
Yeah, we made some big changes this year. We've always typically had customer service reach out to our SARs, and even some of the crossovers. Now, we weren't able to reach out to a lot of our crossovers this year just because of the fact of there were a lot of SARs. Now, it still didn't hit us as hard as some other groups. Some people that I talked to had 20-ish% of their business that they had to reposition somewhere else, where ours was about 6% of our business overall that we had to reposition. But years past, we always had to go over to customer care to do it. This year, we actually had to go back to the writing producer. Writing producer, as long as the client was under a year, effective under a year, it went back to the writing producer. If they were over a year, went to customer care. But that was the first few days of AEP this year was doing that.
I mean, and this year, I think, was a little bit different than others. I felt like everything was just delayed this year, from comp to getting that information out. We would have that normally, be a beginning of September, halfway through September, we'd have a lot
halfway through September, and then every carrier, every carrier wants to wait until they see the next carrier stuff, right? Hey, are they going to be paying PDP commissions? Are they not paying PDP? What's happening with these PPO plans, right? With UHC, with the PPO stuff that they did. Every carrier is kind of waiting for the next big carrier before they make the changes. Look at what Humana did just recently with their PDPs. It was crazy going up to the 15th, even the 1st, because we didn't really, there's a lot of prep work the 1st through the 14th, getting ready for the 15th and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And like what you're talking about with Humana, with their, went from being one of the two carriers that was paying on PDPs to going, we're paying, but actually we're no longer doing the enrollments.
By the way, we're out.
Kind of the flow of how we want our agents to manage time, because it's, yes, you want to help everybody out. Absolutely. Get everybody's, coverage taken care of, but you also just have to be able to help out all of the clients that we do have. Right. Yeah. So you gotta prioritize. And that was definitely a little bit of a hang up there at the end. Now, when it comes to like commissions and UHC doing some of their things, Humana doing some of their things, I put out some videos on it. These aren't secrets. If you've been in any of the Facebook groups or anything, you've seen some of this news coming out. What type of changes were we making? Changes, or were we just letting the agents just kind of, hey, do the right thing by the client?
I mean, we always tell the agents to do the right thing by the clients 100% of the time. The issue that we have today is, we can't control. We don't own the technology, right? We don't own Sunfire, right? Some of the carriers go to Sunfire and say, hey, if it's not commissionable, I don't want you showing our plans at all. right? And that's what most of the carriers do, from my understanding. There's a reason why they're making it non-commissionable, right?
Yeah.
It's not profitable, however, but if they do get some business through Medicare.gov, it's a win for them. We really are at the graces of the technology that we use, and it's Sunfire. Even if I wanted to turn on some of these non-commissionable plans, so we're 100% of the time always doing right by the carrier, by the client, we could do that, and the carriers, you guys are going to watch this, and, there are some stuff with the DOIs that are coming out where, you can't offer a plan unless it's non-commissionable. And there are more DOIs that are starting to come on board with that. At the end of the day, it's not okay, right? I mean, because we try to do what's in the best interest of the client 100% of the time. And of course, if my agent can't get compensated to sell that plan, but then, Mrs. Jones, for example, finds out that there's another plan that's out there and we can't offer it, we can't sell it, it puts us in a bad spot. It puts us in a bad spot as a company. So these carriers really have to figure it out this year. I hope the DOIs get involved. Carriers, I love you guys, and I understand, you guys got to make a buck. Everybody's got to make some money here, but at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is doing what's in the best interest of the client. And, I feel like we had to get away from it just a little bit. And it hurts. It hurts, at least on the MA side. MedSupp side, we're still gold.
MedSupp is steady Eddie on everything, right? I talked to one of our
one carrier has done some big changes. UHC specifically with UHICA, made some big changes there, and pretty obvious why. I mean, it's not a big book of business. They're used to masses of asses that are coming in. They've seen some high. They're not used to what they're seeing, I think. And I haven't talked to them specifically about this, but I understand why they're doing it. I think they're probably they went a little too fast on that product specifically. I hope it comes back. I hope they figure it out. But, unfortunately, we don't offer UHICA anymore.
Well, but it's also not, we can't just lay all the blame on the carriers and act like the DOIs are okay. The DOIs are doing their thing, but it's also the state legislatures changing laws on specifically on the Medicare supplement side. The guaranteed issue, the ESRD, disability in Texas. That was a big one that you saw two of the top carriers in the country essentially have to pull some of their most affordable plans out of the state of Texas because it was going to be a problem for them. Going back to MA, I had one of our downline brokers call and say, hey, there's something wrong with Sunfire. I'm quoting, and I think it was Maryland, and there's no plans available. And I'm like, well, you're ready to sell, and you've got all these carriers that have plans. And then I did a little bit more research, and everything was non-commissionable in that area. And so there wasn't an option for him to offer. And that's just, that does make you look.
We're hearing it upstairs in Mass, all the time. And I said, so what we ended up having to do, and I don't think you were actually a part of a lot of these conversations, but we ended up having to, and they should have been doing this anyway. Shame on us for not training and educating the right way to the agent, but high deductible, going back to high deductible G, right? Get a $30, $40, $50 a month plan. I think we should be offering high deductible far more than we are Medicare Advantage, always kind of, going down the path of needs analysis, fact finding. If somebody's borderline MedSupp MA because of cost, right? Always going high deductible plan G. It's one of the best plans that are out there. I've said this on multiple videos. More than likely, if Medicare is around whenever I turn 65, I'm probably going to buy a high deductible plan myself.
And you'll probably end up buying a little hospital indemnity on the side. I guess it depends on everybody's situation, but when it's all said and done, it's always a good combination that I see is a high deductible with a hospital indemnity. We've been talking about it with our agents about ancillaries. We're what, almost 70% attach rate.
66.
When it comes down to a high deductible, it should be higher, in my opinion. I think if you're not throwing a cancer, if you're not throwing a hospital indemnity on there, one of the two, then you're probably missing the boat, because that's where people are going to end up actually hitting those deductibles. So let's do the right thing.
High deductible plan, and really is your Part A deductible, right? That's where you're paying the most out of pocket on the high deductible. But if you can get a $20, $30 a month HI policy to cover it, we always go down the path of saying, hey, if you get a Medicare supplement, you don't have to get a hospital indemnity. Well, it's not always 100% accurate, right? If you're buying a high deductible plan, in certain circumstances, it makes sense.
Now, beyond all the carrier issues that we ran into with the, everything we
Tech
just discussed,
issues.
heck, I mean, what AEP starts, we've been prepping the last 2 weeks. People kind of debate over when AEP starts. Does it start on October 1? Does it start on October 15th? In reality, it starts on the 15th, right? That's when you can actually start making enrollments.
That's when policies are going in.
Yeah. What was our October 15th like in the office that day?
I didn't drink. Everybody's like, man, I would have drank a whole bottle of something that day. I think right around noon. We had about 600 appointments that day, right? Enrollment appointments that day to get a lot of the SARs. A lot of people that we talked throughout the entire year. That's what we really do for the first, call it 5 days of AEP, is go through all of our SARs, go through all of our people that we talked throughout the year that wanted to switch plans, but they couldn't because they weren't dual or, whatever scenario it was. Noon hits on the 15th, telephony system crashes down for almost 5 hours.
That's I mean, just people sitting there going, what the heck am I doing? I'm sure people calling in going, why are they not
calling in, but couldn't get a hold of us there. We ended up losing a lot of business. And I mean, in short, we had the AWS thing, but we'll talk about that here in a second. A lot of people were affected yesterday. I've talked to 2 or 3 people since yesterday that were affected by it. But for us, we've had this telephony system going on 8 years. I mean, they have like 99.9% uptime. Okay. I think we've had this happen twice to us. Since we've and there's outages for 5 minutes here or there, from time to time, but I mean, it's very, very seldom. 5 hours. So we're sitting here. Okay. It's going to come up. It's going to come up. It's going to come up. We're checking the tickets. And we finally got to a point where I'm like, everybody remember *67? Use star, because we don't allow cell phones in the office. Right. So, press *67 on your cell phone, outbound dial your appointments, and try to reschedule those appointments. Of course, no doing enrollments or education or anything else like that. But we started that at about 4:00, and about 5:15 is when the phone system came back up.
Yeah, it's not just a convenience thing; it's a compliance thing, right? Is the crazy stuff. So we had to be like, listen, we don't want people to think that we forgot about them. Tell them we're going to call them back and we're going to book an appointment with them. So let's just do that. So you got to work around those issues. Those things come up, stuff goes down. You can't just call it a day and say, hey, the day is over, because I'm sure we had agents here until pretty late in the night.
I think it was 10 o'clock. We had some agents here that night.
Yeah. Now the other fun one that everybody else, today's the 21st. Yesterday was the big AWS outage. I think it makes everybody think like, oh my God, the entire internet runs on AWS, because there were so many things down. I mean, I think Mutual of Omaha was having website issues.
Mutual, Cigna, I heard, was out there. And I mean, Mutual and Cigna on the med stuff. Now we've kind of gotten through most of our MA stuff. For those that don't know, and you're the first time ever watching us, we're dominantly a med sub shop. We're tracking 75-25 this year. Last year we finished at 70-30, 70% med sub, 30% MA. This year we're tracking at 75-25, may even be a little higher than that. But the first handful of days of AEP are dominantly Medicare Advantage, and then we now start working on Medicare supplements. So we just got to a point yesterday where we're starting to hit Medicare supplements hard with new business, not worrying about the SARs and the business throughout the year. And then AWS crashes.
I think it affected Connecture too. So if you were on weren't they having issues with the enrollment platform as well? I think
it was all over the place. It was spotty. The telephony system was going up and down. The carrier e-apps were going up and down. Our website, so we couldn't even generate leads. I was getting text messages every 5 minutes that Life Compared was down, Medicare Compared was down, Medicare FAQ was down, and it was back up. It was just left and right. Everything was kind of glitching. Now we were still able to make calls and talk to people, but even if we could make a call and get through everything and get through education, then we get to the enrollment, try to go to Mutual of Omaha's website, and then guess what happens? We still hit about 80% of goal yesterday, though. So I haven't been up to the Medicare sales team and talked to life insurance downstairs. They were humming. They hit about 80% of goal, I think, yesterday too. But Medicare upstairs, their goals are much higher during this time of year, and they were still able to get a lot done. But unfortunately, we still probably lost a half a day's worth of work.
Now, for everybody out there that's just a Medicare Advantage call center and that's all you do, you're probably kind of surprised to hear about the amount of volume we do on the Med Supp side during this time of year. I mean, it's one thing to just think about it. Your client that calls in, and if you're a Medicare Advantage shop, I'm sure your clients on a regular basis call it their Medicare supplement plan, even though no matter how much education you do, there's always the confusion. And so during this time of year, just a lot of Med Supp people out there thinking this is the only time of year that they can shop, even though we educate them from start to finish that you can change it anytime and all this stuff. But it still just drives a whole bunch of traffic. People are talking about
the same people that we've been telling you. We've been in business for 11 years. We've been telling, we still have clients that have been with us for 11 years, right? The policies that I've written, I still have a lot of business myself that are on. And they still, even though you tell them 11 times, right, 11 years in a row that, hey, AEP is not for your Medicare supplements. It is for your prescription, right? But it's not for your Medicare supplements. Let's review this after December 7th, right? Because then things slow down for us. There's still a lot of confusion. A lot of people, just see the ads and stuff, and it drives, a ton of Medicare supplement leads.
I mean, it's just a busy time of year for everybody. Thank goodness we don't have an ACA division, because that's coming down the pipe here.
Yeah.
In the next couple, weeks or so that comes online. But it's kind of wild that it is everything crammed into the last quarter of the year, where it's like we have every bit of business, for the government side of things is all during this time.
It makes crazy. No sense to me. I mean, this is a whole nother video. We can talk about it, but I mean, you shouldn't, there should be no annual enrollment period. You should be able, it should be very similar to kind of DSNP, where you get, one change per year. Well, with DSNP, of course, you could do it quarterly, and then it went to monthly, then quarterly again. I like the fact of, Curt, where you can change it anytime throughout the year. You get one switch a year, unless there's, other circumstances why an SEP, right, why you could switch. But there's no reason why we should, because here's what happens in this scenario. And again, I don't want to make this about this, but the clients don't get taken care of. I'd love to I mean, if I go walk up to my customer care team right now, even though we have a ton of licensed, customer care agents, I've probably got 30 to 40 calls sitting in queue right now that are sitting there on the phone wanting to, and these are clients of ours, right, that are just waiting there. And we're doing a disservice to our people. We don't have enough manpower. I can't hire, I would have to hire probably 20x what I keep outside of AEP. And it's not feasible, right? What am I going to hire a whole bunch of people and then fire them all December 8th, right? When the business goes down. So I don't like the fact that we have AEP. I like OEP, I like, just, again, hey, you make one change a year. And if you don't like that plan, then within 90 days after that, right? If you don't like that plan, then that's kind of your OEP, right? Then you can switch, to get out of that plan to go on to another plan, but then that's it. Then you got to wait until 12 months later, right? To then switch again.
I was thinking maybe they should do like 2 times a year, like a June, July enrollment period and a October, November enrollment period, something along those lines. But I actually think it's like, hey, enroll in a plan, you get to test drive it for a little bit, and then if you don't like it, then
that's what OEP is for, right? I mean, that's really what OEP is. Hey, you got into this plan effective January 1st, you don't like it, right? Because you test drove it, you don't like it, then you can get out of it, and go into a new plan effective 4/1, right? I like the idea of, there is no annual enrollment period. You get one time a year where you can switch it. And again, let's go back to, I'm okay with what we do, October 15th or December 7th and everything else. Like, I'm okay with that. It's just not the right thing for the clients. They're not being taken care of. Whereas if we can spread it through the entire year, right, these people are all taken care of, right? Yeah. I don't have to staff up and staff back down. Like, I don't know if this is just a technology issue with Medicare or, what it is. Why? I understand, because new benefits come out, January 1st. I get that piece of it. But at the end of the day, like, again, that could be an SEP, right? If your benefits change by so much, right, you have the capability of moving, then, but you don't have to do it during that window. You could do it in June if you wanted to, with a July 1st effective date. Like, it makes no sense to me, whether it be Medicare or be ACA. I think it's dumb. And hopefully maybe somebody from the government will watch this and say, haha, that's a good idea. And, go to work on it, because I can guarantee you it would be better for our Medicare eligibles if we were to do that. But
we would be more educated as agents. They would have more time to digest things, because it is kind of a sprint to the, to December.
It's stressful. It's stressful. Again, tons of money to be made, helping a lot of people, but there's a lot more people that we could help and do the right things for. And the agents, they come off a process this time of year, even though we beat them over the head, stick to the same education, everything else, but they come off a process because of the fact that they're so overwhelmed, right? They're having so many more conversations and everything else. I'd love to tell you that, we handle people the exact same in Q4 that we do Q1 through 3, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think we do. Now, again, from a compliance perspective, yeah, we have to, right? But from an education, everything that happens kind of before that enrollment, they skip through certain things, right, to get to that enrollment, because they know they got somebody else waiting, and I don't like that. I don't like it at all.
The rapport is not built. And so you probably, I don't know if we've done this report, but I'd wonder what the percentage of persistency and things like that versus AEP versus the rest of the year.
Guaranteed lower. I know we've never ran it. I mean, we can run it, but I can guarantee you anybody that was enrolled in Q4 compared to Q1 through 3, the persistency is going to be much better with Q1 through 3 versus Q4 for every reason we just said.
We're just spending more time. We're able to answer all the questions, educate from start to finish. Now, we kind of touched on this about how we, yes, we write a lot of MA, but our bread and butter is the Med Supp side of things.
Yeah.
How do we manage the lead flow during AEP in terms of MA leads versus Med Supp leads? I think a lot of people don't even realize that there are such things as Med Supp leads. I talk to groups and they're like, what's a Medicare supplement lead? But we really do manage that during this time of year. What's kind of the strategy looking like for the rest of AEP and what we're doing on the Medicare
side? So I mean, come really first week of October, late September, depending on what the demand looks like and kind of what's coming in. I mean, it happened earlier this year than I'm used to. But we've essentially got 3 buckets. We've got what we consider Med Supp leads, we got MA leads, and we got broad Medicare leads. And what think of a broad Medicare lead is, instead of saying get quotes for Medicare supplement plans or get quotes for Medicare Advantage plans, right? We've got get quotes for Medicare plans, right? And that's all encompassing both Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage and prescription drugs a lot of times too. We get a lot of prescription drug inquiries for our broad Medicare leads. But we've got it in a way that our marketing team has it in a way where we turn off MA and ME this time of year. We're only generating Medicare supplement leads. And call it 9 out of 10 people that end up getting to us are looking for Medicare supplements. It doesn't always mean that they always buy Medicare supplements, because they may not be able to afford it. It might not be the best product for them, so on and so forth. We still do our needs analysis and fact finding, and maybe not, it's like I said, as good as we do Q1 through Q3. But at the end of the day, those ends up turning into about 85% Med Supp, 15% Medicare Advantage. Really from yesterday through the end of the year, we'll be 85% Med Supp.
And it's an absolutely cranked up amount of enrollments during this time of year than it would be throughout Q1 through 3, right?
Our goals increase. Don't quote me on this, but I think our goals increase almost 50% during this time here, really from October 1st through December 7th. They increased almost 50%.
People are just ready. And for the people that, even though you tell them every year, people do want to shop their coverage. You're used to shopping your car insurance. They maybe got a rate increase the letter 3 months ago or something, and they put it off, and it's like, this is when I'm going to do it. And so it's a great time for Medicare supplement shops out there that focus on Medicare supplements like us, because it's not just MA that's out there shopping. People shopping their PDPs forces them to take a second look at their Med Supp plan.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's more volume than I could ever handle, right? That we could ever handle. I don't care even if I have 1,000 agents upstairs. There's more volume than we could ever touch on the Medicare supplement side. And I want to leave this for food for thought, because I talked to a couple MA. So Curt, you can probably talk about this a little bit more than me, but I mean, we're bringing on the brokerage side, we're bringing a lot of MA groups that want to get back into Med Supp or have never been in Med Supp, right? We have probably 3 or 4 groups that are under us now, probably got 4 or 5 other groups that, are going to be coming over. And again, we're very selective of who we work with. We want good groups, so on and so forth. But with that being said, when you get paid on Medicare Advantage, Curt?
Well, you're not legally allowed to get paid until the plan starts, right? Until it goes away.
And when you get paid on a Medicare supplement, when you write a Medicare supplement?
Right away. Right away. When it goes active.
When it goes active, right? So not when it goes effective, but when it goes active, right? So typically we write a business today, whether it be underwritten, Cigna, get your shit together because you guys are still weeks behind. I know you guys are going to watch this and I'll probably get a text message, get your shit together. But, most carriers, that are doing essentially the, real-time underwriting and stuff are issued within 5 minutes, right? Maybe a few days if they has to go to a real human, to actually do it. And guess when I'm getting paid? This Friday, right? So I don't have to wait until January, February, March, right, to start getting commissions, even though, now a lot of these Med Supp still, we're not waiting until effective either of January 1st. A lot of these people already have a Med Supp, they got a rate increase, whatever. Now, is there a lot of people that were switching off of Medicare Advantage over to Medicare supplements? Absolutely, right? That happens a lot. Of course, those will be effective 1/1. But we do get a lot of people that are shopping Med Supps that want to change it. I'm not making those effective 1/1, right? We're making those effective 11/1 or 12/1.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's, and people, and the clients are always kind of surprised about, I can start saving money already. Yeah. Because if I can, drop your coverage down $20, save you a few bucks a month. And that's a lot of what we see during this time of year. Our clients that have been on a plan for a couple of years, 2-3 years, got used to it. The prices, they've been cooked like a frog. The price has gone up a little bit over that time. I think the funny thing, and Jagger, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but back when EIP started, it was almost impossible to sell a Med Advantage over the phone. The only option really was selling a Med
Supp. We were one of the OGs on the Med Supp side of it too. I mean, you could barely sell a Med Supp over the phone. Wasn't a Med were you able to sell Med Supps before Medicare Advantages over the phone? Yes.
Yeah. Those people that have been in it for that 10-year period, they've sold Med Supps, but then a lot of people that kind of got into it, I think COVID really flipped the switch on MA, allowing it to be over the phone. And that's when a lot of people joined in, got into the business. There's a lot of great groups that have been around 4 or 5, maybe 6 years now that are crushing it on the MA side and absolutely doing a bunch of volume on the MA side. Now, talk about effectuation rates and persistency. There's some issues that some people run into, but they almost don't even know that it's possible to sell Med Supps over the phone. They think that it's still sit down across the table, but I mean, there's groups like us, and there's a lot of groups out there that kill it on the Medicare supplement side. And it's a great business overall. I mean, we've talked about it. We're doing right by the clients, but it's also doing right on the business side. Lifetime values, because it is a more, a stickier piece of business, is just way higher.
Everybody's chasing fast cash. Go watch any one of our videos that you and I talk, any videos that I'm in my truck to talk, and everybody's chasing the fast cash versus lifetime value, and fuck the cash. Hell with what you get paid on an MA. Hell with what you get paid on a Medicare supplement. I'll tell you, Med Supp, you're going to get paid you're going to make almost 2x, right? If not higher, on a Med Supp over the life of that policy, versus MA. But aside from that, do what's in the best interest of the client, right? And that's what people aren't doing, right?
Not everybody's an MA client. And not everybody's a Med Supp client. I mean, it's just the fact, right? And so if all that you have to offer is MA, well, then either you've got the most dialed in marketing, or you're only selling to duals. And that is what you can sell them, is the MA plan. But there's got to be 10, 15, 20% of your business.
You heard what I just said. Even though we're generating Medicare supplement leads, people actively looking for Medicare supplement, Medigap, Plan F, Plan G, right? They're looking for Medicare supplement. We'll still end up selling 15, 20% Medicare Advantage the rest of the year.
That's why? What happens.
Because it's the best thing for them. My agents don't get compensated, different, for selling this carrier over that carrier, this product over this product. At the end of the day, just do what's in the best interest of the client, and it works.
Now, a division that we launched end of last year, I'd say, right, is our life division.
It's a little over a year old now.
We launched that. We didn't reinvent the wheel, right? And I think that was a really smart thing. Take some of the life guys that we think could do well on the Medicare side. We've already got all of our phone system. We've already got all of our CRM and everything. There's a very minimal technological changes you need to make there. Do those changes and then just adopt the sales script to Medicare, or from Medicare to life, right?
Yep.
And we did that, and we just brought on a class, last week or the week before last, for our life class. We're hiring in the middle of AEP, bringing on a class of people. What's that looking like?
It's amazing. I love everything that I'm seeing on the life insurance side of it. I mean, it's a lot more first year cash, right? Let's talk compensation really quick. It's a lot more first year cash that we're getting, compared to the Medicare side. You're looking for, the trail years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. But like you said, it wasn't hard to stand it up for us. We educate, we do needs analysis, fact finding, educate, and then offer the product, right? And the best product for that consumer. But, we had 22 pre this last class. We just hired 41 more people last Monday. We're down to 38 or 39. Few people didn't cut it so far, but we're down to 38 or 39 people today. Love the numbers, love the product, love what I'm seeing. I love everything about it. I'm very, very super excited about it. I wish I had more seats than what I've got down here. I've only got 70 seats. And we're almost full already, down here. If David watches this and he hears that I'm thinking about looking at some more space, I think he'd probably kill me in my sleep. But I really like what I'm seeing.
And when we're doing that during AEP, we're bringing those people on. They're working regular hours. I'd be curious, and I'm not sure because we didn't have quite the team that we have this year, but I'd be curious if we see a little crank in overall volume during AEP from our senior reps, from that 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I've asked a couple peers in the industry about seasonality. Of course, there's tons of seasonality with Medicare. For life insurance, I don't know. I mean, I definitely, now that we've got about a year's worth of marketing data behind us, I'll be able to kind of start going in and looking at it. Definitely heard there was some seasonality to it. And I heard it was kind of after the holidays, which actually works better for us, like in Q1, because they're around their families, and that type of stuff. I don't know if it's just because there's more marketing during that time of the year too, right? You're around your families, and you feel more obligated to go get life insurance so you don't leave a burden to your families and loved one. I don't know. It's a good video that we'll have probably in Q1, Q2 next year of saying kind of like, is there seasonality with life insurance? What I can tell you is we're humming down here. It didn't slow down here because of the fact that Medicare picked up. Even though our average client and our average age at enrollment on the final expense side of things are 66, right?
It's the same client.
It's the same client.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Even
we're humming, and I love every second of it. So, those that are, looking to possibly get into it, both on the Medicare supplement side and MA side of it, or if you're already doing Medicare supplements and you want to learn some other avenues to grow your team, those are the people that we're looking to work with. Even though we have probably said it on some other videos, I'm not too keen on bringing a ton of downlines on the final expense side. If you're a good shop and you're doing business the right way and everything, we're going to keep a close eye on, your metrics. I mean, because our persistency looks like our placement rates in the mid to high 80s right now. Our persistency is in the high 70s. If you do business the right way, it works. However, there are some groups that think they can get rich overnight and do things the wrong way. Those are the groups that we're not looking to work with.
Yeah, we're not selling an accidental death and dismemberment policy as a life insurance policy. And anybody that's ever been a part of that type of business, we don't need to have the conversation.
I've had a few people have reached out to me that I've seen their names in things, and they know well. And it's like, why aren't you returning my text messages? Because I want nothing to do with you, right? Because you don't do business the right way. We want people that want to do business the right way, that, can kind of take our playbook that we're doing. Don't reinvent the wheel. We can teach you how to do this type of stuff. And everybody's like, why would I, why would you do this? Well, guys, just like on the Medicare side of things, there's 10,000, there's a ton of people. There's more people that are looking for final expense than Medicare from what we're seeing. Number one. Number two, right? On the Medicare side, there's 10,000 people a day that are turning 65, aside from all the people that are trying to reposition to go to other plans for obvious reasons, right? So it's like, why are we working with downlines and kind of giving them our secret sauce? I mean, the groups that we work with today, how many employees that I've lost to them? 0. How many clients that I've probably lost to them in 10 years? 120, right? We don't run into a lot of people all the time. And we just want to work with good people.
Yeah, especially if we're talking on a national scale. If you're a local rep, you're going to run into some of your local rep buddies' clients every now and then. You're like, no, you got to call Tom back,
Sure.
give him a call type thing. But if we're talking national, I mean, there's just too many people. It's too big of a pond.
We've got 2 people that are joining us on the downline here locally we got one that's 15 minutes northeast of or southwest of us. We got somebody that's northeast of us. That's another 15 minutes that way, 15 minutes that way. We don't run into them, right? We don't run into, now we're all 3 of us are national shops, but
yeah,
I don't hear that. Oh yeah, I went with ABC company down the street or this company down the street, or I lost an employee over there, or anything else like that. It's crazy. And they're in our backyard and they're larger organizations as well.
If we were a field organization and our reps were getting out on the street and going and doing seminars locally, might be a different story, but we're too dispersed. I mean, and it's a growing market. The life insurance side of things is growing. I hadn't thought about what you said about, hanging out with the family, maybe also a drop in overall advertising spend from everybody that's marketing up to Black Friday and stuff. Maybe leads get a little bit cheaper. But I think the family thing, I think that's that's an interesting angle that I hadn't thought about. It is one of those things that
it gets me thinking about it. I'm sure you think about it as well with, when you're hanging out with your family and you just think about, just life in general. I mean, it happens to me a lot. Definitely with the seniors, right, that are in that 60 plus market. Some of them may only see their families during the holidays, whether that be Thanksgiving or that be Christmas or, the holidays and stuff. So, that just gets them thinking about it. And then they see an ad on TV and they're like, I've been thinking about this for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. I need to go ahead and just get it done. I think that's where the seasonality will be, but we didn't have enough agents on the phone last year to kind of see, if all of a sudden the search impression goes up. I mean, you can probably go to Google to their tool, and see if there is people that are looking for final expense or whole life or burial insurance. I'm actually going to do it right after this call. Actually, just go jump on there and look at trends and see if trends, go up any time of the year, because that could kind of even paint a picture for us as well.
For sure. Well, hey, AEP is just, kind of gotten started here. It's still going to be busy. I'm sure we're going to have more conversations. We're going to have more technical issues. Hopefully not. But that's the way this world works. AWS, get your stuff together. And also the rest of us, we need to maybe think about ways to not just have everything built on AWS. Because
I can tell you, we're looking at a backup for telephony. It's happened twice in 6 months where it's gone down. The first time went down for like an hour. This time it went down for 5 hours, but it got me at a spot at this point where we're going to have a backup system in the event that this happens again. And we just, as long as it's got the recording capabilities and that type of stuff, and they can manually dial, we are coming up with a backup plan now.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a double integration with all the full features, but I mean, it's better than *67, and all I can do is book appointments.
I literally went to ChatGPT. Does *67 still work, and does it cost anything? Because I was thinking, all right, well, just bring us your phone bills. If you're getting charged 30 cents for a *67, we'll just give us your phone bills and we'll pay your phone bill for the month, right? Or something along those lines. And it's like, yeah, no, it still works and it's free. I'm like, sweet, that works.
Still works, but unfortunately, your connect rates probably aren't as good, with a blocked number coming in. So you need a solution that has everything with the shaking and the stir on the telephony side to make sure that your calls are getting through.
I know you're getting ready to come out with a video talking about the iOS 6 26.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah. So I'm excited to learn a little bit about from you on that one as well. But I know we need to wrap this up. I got a 10:30, but hey guys, listen, at the end of the day, why are we doing this? There's a lot of FMOs that don't provide value out there, to you, your downline, your LOAs, kind of whatever your shop is. We're a unicorn. Not only do we have as good, if not better, not always better contracts and, some of these big boys that are out there, we provide value, right? Everything that you're getting, go watch any one of our videos. You'll see the value we provide that these other FMOs just aren't. I'm not saying all of them, right? But most of them take your contract, take your money, and that's it. Well, guess what? We got the same contracts. We can give you the same contract levels, match or beat, what you already have. If you're deserving of it, the bigger piece of it, the groups that we want to work with are the groups that, are looking to grow, right? Looking to maybe get away from that MA stuff and get back into MedSup, or vice versa. Maybe they're just only doing MedSup and you want to get into MA, right? We do have some groups in our downline that we help getting into the MA side as well, but it's harder. I'd rather you stay in the MedSup side, but at the end of the day, life insurance. If you're a group that's doing Medicare and you're thinking about doing life insurance, we've got some of the best. We're direct on, I think, every single carrier, on that side of it. We got the top deals there as well. Reach out to us, brokerage at teameip.com. You guys can go to the website. That'll all be in this video. Let us know how we can help. I'd love to set up a meeting. Let you come to the office. We got a 60,000 square foot office in Tampa. Love you to come here if it makes sense. And let's have a conversation and kind of gear up for 2026.